Oh, hey, look. Apple made a detail spray. Quartz Max Plus Pro Raw Plus. Hello and welcome to another ranked review. I think I've been saying the channel in the past couple videos, so forgive me. It's a ranked review video. Today we're looking at Tax Systems Quartz Max Plus. Plus, because there's a second plus after the word plus. I don't know what to call this. Plus plus. We're calling it PP. So this is their really stout version of their spray ceramic sealant coating thing. They've got real spray ceramics like Moonlight, which is a good level above this. But this is more of their easy to use, watery based potentially, although it's got a pretty hefty odor. And it's supposed to just be, really beefed up. Excuse me. So I was very curious because I have the original Quartz Max and I thought it was quite good. It's very hydrophobic. It seems to last a few months, but it's it's a very hydrophobic product. So when I saw this hit the shelves, I got a little curious and I didn't know what to think. It seemed like making really stout sprays, they're never going to last as long as a light coating. So it seemed like a weird market to me. And speaking of market and the shelves, this was sent to me by Carzilla. They sent it in a goodie box with a whole bunch of sprays. They wanted to see a bunch of stuff get tested, so they sort of sent it. So I didn't buy this. There's no kickback. There's no links. I don't have any affiliate programs on this channel. But that's where this came from, and you should know. So there you go. I didn't buy it, but don't worry. I can still pretend I did. Yeah, just these really stout sprays, they seem to be overlapping into light coatings because you're probably going to do the same amount of prep. As a coating booster, like a really strong coating booster, sure, but you can also use light coatings for that. So, and I guarantee you any light coating is going to last longer, although we'll get into how well this lasts in the testing. So it just seemed like they get real spendy. They potentially become harder to use. And then all of a sudden, things like Phobic and Quartz Light and all those other light coatings, Immortal and all the other ones I've put in the other video, they just seem to make more sense. So it's a toughie. It's a toughie for me to sort of say, but why don't I just show you how it looks and get into the testing? So we'll go into the application, we'll go into the gloss and fill, hydrophobics, and then chemical resistance, and we'll meet back here. All right, up next is Tax Systems Quartz Max Plus. Plus? Okay. The entire instructions are in Korean, so 안녕하세요. And I know how to apply it, but it's pretty straightforward. Again, most of the time, especially when you're dealing with things like this, which are supposed to be rather stout, put it directly onto the cloth, not onto the paint, just as a safety precaution. You could be there for days buffing it, so yeah. But, try the trigger off. Yep, another one of those interesting chemical, fragrancy, fresh chemical scent things. And again, quite a lot. There. Not even. That's better. Similar smell to a few other brands. Similar smell to the Fireball and another brand, which I'm not going to bring up yet. But right now, the application, this is spreading really smoothly, and it's already flashing off. I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, my arm might be in the way, but it's about a second after I wipe it, and it's gone. So, and on the flip, it's nice and slick. This is quite nice. This is a nice to apply product. It's not the top of the top, but it's quite good. A little strong on the smell, like the last couple we've had, but yeah, it's really nice to apply. So, good job. moving on. All right, we have got Tech Systems Quartz Max Plus. Plus? I don't know. It depends how you read the label. We'll get to that later. In the bottom here, and then up here, we've got the untouched, and over here, we've got the high standard of polish, which is a lot better than it's been recently. Like, this one's a little rougher than the other panel, but a substantial step up from what we were looking at last time. So apologies, I found a combination that works a bit better. But tape, and see how the Apple named product looks. And it's done a bit of darkening, you know, compared to the super clean section, which, you know, every time I look at it, it looks a little less clean, but it's better than it's been. Give me a break. You can definitely see the line. Like, without a doubt, you can see that line. Let's try the other color temperature, see if that makes a difference. Yeah, not really. So yeah, doesn't do as much filling as some of the others we've been looking at in this past set of 4. ADBL and Fireball definitely did a better filling job. But the application experience was a lot more pleasant on this guy. So again, there's that theory coming through once again. The easier to apply, the less they fill. It's so far correlating pretty clearly, but I'm not going to say it's a solid given rule. But it's definitely done a bit. It's not done nothing, but it's in that average range, that 3 to 4 range. So not too bad, but we'll look at the other aspects of that and see if that's a good trade-off for maybe some of the performances in other areas. But anyway, moving on. Okay, so we're going to go through the data and we'll look at, what we saw and put some numbers to it, if that makes any sense. Starting with a big number, the price. Although I didn't buy this, I can still be outraged. Don't worry, I'm good at that. For this 500 ml bottle, it is $58.99. That is a 2 out of 10. That's very expensive. However, this has drying aid use, which is nice to know. A lot of them seem to, if you use it, like they might not be on the label, but they specifically state on Carzilla's site that you can use this as drying aid and you can dilute it down. So 3 to 1. So that makes this 58, it's called 60 into $20 per 500 ml, and then you get 1,500 mils worth. Or however that works out. You basically can make a lot more out of this one bottle or make a lighter version. Again, you're not going to get the same performance when you dilute it down, but it does have that option if you find this a bit too heavy or you don't need that much out of it, but you still like the effect it gives you. Then it becomes a little more economical. However, you still got to buck up the $58, $59, at least my $58, $59. I don't know what it costs where you live. You submit your own pricing onto the scores and go from there. Again, I use my pricing because that's my price. I don't get to change that. So it's spendy. So it's getting the 2 just because to make the 3 to 1, you still got to outlay $60. So that's that. Moving on to more positive things. Application and slickness are very nice. They're very, very nice on this product. I'm giving them 8s both, respectively. 8 on app, 8 on slickness. For something that sounds very intimidating and very powerful and stout and all that kind of stuff, the application is really nice. So don't be afraid just because it's a very stout coating or anything like that, or sorry, spray coating. It's still very nice to use. So that's good. Comes to hydrophobics. This is another tenner. This thing was very nice. I don't know. I think the other Quartz Max I have, which is I think pre V2, I think it's just the regular version, was also really good. It looked just like this, I think. So I've got videos of it. You can go look. So yeah, it's done a really good job on the hydrophobics and the chemical resistance. Again, it's a 9 out of 10. Just a little weak spot here or there. And then, the majority of it looked really unfazed. So, again, to 10 out of 10 means 0 drop. So this is just a smidge of drop. It's just going to lose a smidge of point. So it gets a 9 out of 10. Filling performance is where it starts to suffer again. And this goes right in line with this correlation we've been working with since the beginning, is that high fill products have harder applications. Specifically, they're not as slick. And this had a higher slickness rating, and its filling abilities seem to drop. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10 for that performance. It's right around the mean average. It does something. It's not doing nothing, but it's not nearly as good as some of the other guys we've looked at, like Pirouette and ADBL in this round. So, yeah, it's getting a 4 there. Bottle. There's nothing wrong with this bottle. This is just like the Shiny Wax bottle. I have no issues with it. Same with this trigger. I don't know if this is their trigger or supplied or what have you. I don't care. The trigger gets a 1 out of 2 because it's not adjustable. Otherwise, it doesn't leak. It's all good there. This is another goose egg on a label. So the front has got the English and all the stuff with the extra pluses. Some nice pictures. And then the back is all Korean. So ISCO. But I can't read this. So really wish they put more effort into labeling this for the market. This is a lot of language for just one language, or a lot of type. This is a lot of space used up for one language. In Canada, you usually have to have French and English labels, depending on the product and where it's produced. So how are you supposed to get 2 languages when you're putting this much in for just one? And I, read through the blurb on Carzilla's site, which they've done the work for you and actually put all that information out. Made it very easy to read and digest and how to use the product. but the bottle doesn't, and the bottle is what's in my hand when I'm applying it. So that's why it's very important that the instructions be on the bottle and clear. And it doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be, how do I use this? And what is this? What is it? Okay, they've got most of that on here. That's good. But how you use it is far more important. You're gonna know roughly what this is just based on where it is on the site, in the category on the site, or if it was sold in the store, in the section it's being sold in. So do better. Korean brands, it seems, and hint, hint, coming up for the next one, they don't get the label part. You gotta put other languages on there, man. Specifically English. Not trying to say anything here, but if you're pushing into any market that is English speaking, you absolutely have to have English on the label. That's just how it goes. So yeah, goose egg on that, bringing us to a total of 42 out of 64. That label alone would have put them in a really high rank. They're not a bad rank, but there's a ton of products at 43 in that chart right now. 44 would have put them in a much nicer spot. And oh well, that's on them. But yeah, this is nice to use. I haven't done the drying aid thing. I might experiment with that in the next few days. I have some cars I can play around with. So yeah, I did, easy to use. It's got a chemically heavy kind of smell. It looks like they threw some detergent fragrance in as well. Easy to use, really hydrophobic, good chemical resistance. Filling is average, but the price is hurtful. The label is terrible. And I don't know, the name sounds a lot like an Apple product. So yeah, nothing wrong with that, but it is spendy. So that's that for this guy. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.